On November 22nd, 1963, at 12:30 p.m., the United States didn't just lose a president, it lost its sense of certainty. In a single moment in Dallas, the course of the 20th century veered into a completely different lane.
It's the ultimate where were you moment for an entire generation. But even 60 years later, we're still arguing over the basic facts of what happened in that plaza.
Exactly. Today, we're stripping away the film grain and the Oliver Stone theories to look at the cold, hard timeline of the Kennedy assassination. To understand why Kennedy was even in Texas, you have to look at the 1964 election. He wasn't just there for a friendly visit, he was on a political rescue mission to heal a rift in the Texas Democratic Party.
So this wasn't just a victory lap. He was actually worried about losing the South in the upcoming election?
Precisely. Texas was vital, and the state's Democratic leaders, Governor John Connally and Senator Ralph Yarborough, were barely on speaking terms. Kennedy figured a high-profile motorcade through the streets of Dallas would force them to play nice in the same car.
And what about the man in the window? Lee Harvey Oswald wasn't some longtime political operative. How did he end up there?
Oswald was a high school dropout, a former Marine, and a self-proclaimed Marxist who had actually defected to the Soviet Union before coming back to the U.S. In late 1963, he was just another face in the crowd working a low-wage job at the Texas School Book Depository.
It seems almost too convenient. You have a president planning a very public, slow-moving route, and a trained sniper happens to work right on the path?
That's the detail that feeds the fire. Oswald got that job in October, weeks before the White House even finalized the motorcade route through Dealey Plaza. It was a collision of mundane circumstances and a very dangerous man. The day begins with sunshine. Kennedy and First Lady Jackie Kennedy land at Love Field. They swap the bubble top on the limousine for the open-air configuration because the weather is perfect.
A fateful decision for security, but great for the crowds. They head into downtown Dallas, right?
Right. They turn onto Houston Street, then make that sharp, slow turn onto Elm Street, passing directly in front of the book depository. From the 6th floor, Oswald leans out the window with a modified Italian carbine rifle.
It all happens in seconds. What's the sequence?
3 shots ring out. The first one likely misses. The second one strikes Kennedy in the back of the neck, exits his throat, and hits Governor Connally in the front seat. This is the famous single bullet that theorists have debated for decades.
But the third shot is the one that ends it.
Yes. The third shot strikes Kennedy in the head. The limousine accelerates instantly, racing toward Parkland Memorial Hospital, but it's too late. Doctors pronounce John F. Kennedy dead at 1 p.m.
While the world is reeling, where is Oswald? He doesn't just sit there waiting to be caught, does he?
Not at all. He leaves the building within minutes, catches a bus, then a taxi, and goes to his rooming house to grab a pistol. About 45 minutes later, a police officer named J.D. Tippit pulls alongside him on a residential street. Oswald draws his pistol and kills Tippit in broad daylight.
That's the part people forget, the second murder. How do they finally corner him?
He slips into the Texas Theater without paying. Someone notices him looking suspicious and calls the police. Officers swarm the theater, and after a brief scuffle, they take Oswald into custody.
But then the story gets even stranger. We never get a trial. We never get a confession.
2 days later, while the police move Oswald to the county jail, a local nightclub owner named Jack Ruby walks straight up to him on live national television. He pulls a revolver and shoots Oswald in the stomach. Oswald dies, and with him, the chance for a public testimony vanishes.
This is the moment where the official story stops and the conspiracy culture begins. If Oswald is dead, how do we know he acted alone?
That's why President Lyndon Johnson formed the Warren Commission. They spent a year investigating and concluded that Oswald was a lone gunman. But their report didn't settle the matter. It actually fueled the fire.
Why? Was it just bad science or a cover-up?
A bit of both in the public's eye. They missed details about the CIA following Oswald months earlier. Decades late, the House Select Committee on Assassinations looked at it again in the late 70s and actually concluded there was a high probability of a second gunman based on acoustic evidence that has since been heavily disputed.
It feels like this event changed how Americans view their own government. It was the end of the Camelot era and the start of deep, systemic distrust.
You hit the nail on the head. Before Dallas, the press didn't really scrutinize a president's private life or question official narratives. After Dallas and later Watergate, that trust disappeared. The assassination became the big bang of modern conspiracy culture.
And we still have thousands of documents being withheld or redacted today, right? That doesn't exactly help the lone wolf case.
Most of those documents have been released now, but the remaining scraps keep the mystery alive. Even without a smoking gun proving a conspiracy, the sheer impossibility of such a giant figure being taken down by such a small, troubled man is something the human brain struggles to accept.
It's the ultimate tragedy of the 20th century. Alex, what's the one thing we should remember about the JFK assassination?
Remember that it was the moment America lost its innocence and discovered that even the most powerful person in the world can be silenced in a heartbeat by a single, determined person.
That's Wikipodia, every story on demand. Search your next topic at wikipodia.ai.